I have been a mechanic for over 20 years, and last month I did something I have been wanting to do for a long time. I bought 6 of the most popular oil filters for the Chevy 5.3-liter V8, cut every single one open on camera, and compared them side by side for construction, filter media quality, anti-drain back valve material, bypass valve design, and overall build integrity. What I found genuinely changed my own buying habits. And filter number 3 on this list is one I will never put on a customer's truck again. Let me show you exactly what is inside these things. Before I get into the results, I need to explain why oil filter choice matters more on a 5.3-liter than most people think. The Chevy 5.3-liter is one of the most produced V8 engines in American history. It has been in Silverados, Sierras, Tahoes, Suburbans, and Yukons since 1999 across multiple generations. The Gen 3 and Gen 4 versions of the 5.3-liter run a traditional gear-driven oil pump that produces between 25 and 55 pounds per square inch, depending on RPM and temperature. That oil runs from the pump through the filter and then directly to the main bearings, the rod bearings, the lifters, and the camshaft journals. Every drop of oil your engine uses passes through that filter first. If the filter is poorly constructed, if the media is thin, if the bypass valve opens too easily, or if the anti-drain back valve fails, you are sending dirty oil or no oil at all to parts that operate within tolerances measured in thousandths of an inch. On the Gen 5 5.3-liter from 2014 onward, General Motors went to a variable displacement oil pump and tightened tolerances even further. General Motors specifically warned that filters with bypass valve pressures of 15 pounds per square inch or less can allow debris to circulate and cause premature engine failure on these newer trucks. That is not something I made up. That came directly from a General Motors technical service bulletin. So the filter you bolt onto this engine actually matters more than it has on any previous generation small block Chevy. Here is how I tested them. I bought all 6 filters, brand new from local parts stores and online retailers. I photographed the exterior, weighed each one, then cut the housing open with a pipe cutter and carefully removed the internal components. I examined the filter media material, counted the number of pleats, measured the total surface area of the media, inspected the anti-drain back valve material and flexibility, checked the bypass valve spring tension, and looked at the end cap construction. I also looked at the quality of the sealing gasket and the center tube hole pattern. I am not a lab. I do not have ISO filtration testing equipment, but I have been cutting open oil filters for 20 years, and I know what good construction looks like versus cost cutting that puts your engine at risk. Let me walk you through all 6, starting with number 6 and working up to the best. Number 6 is the Super Tech from Walmart. This is the filter that guys buy when they are doing a $25 oil change in their driveway and they want to spend as little as possible. It currently runs about $3 to $4 depending on the part number. When I cut this one open, I was not expecting much, and it delivered exactly on that expectation. The filter media is basic cellulose with a minimal pleat count. The end caps are bonded with adhesive rather than mechanically crimped to metal. The center tube has a punched hole pattern that looks rough, almost like the holes were stamped in a hurry without a quality check. The anti-drain back valve on the one I opened was a nitrile rubber piece, not silicone, which means it will harden faster in cold weather and lose its seal over time. A hardened anti-drain back valve means oil drains out of the filter every time you shut the engine off, and for the first few seconds of your next start, your bearings and lifters are running dry. On the 5.3-liter V8, this is one of the most common causes of that cold start tick that drives Silverado owners crazy. Is this filter going to immediately kill your engine? No. Will it protect your 5.3-liter V8 as well as it deserves for a truck you plan to keep past 150,000 miles? Absolutely not. You are saving $4 and gambling with a $7,000 engine. Number 5 is the Fram Extra Guard. This is the orange can that sits on every shelf in every auto parts store in North America. It is probably the single most recognizable oil filter in the world, and it has been a source of debate among mechanics for decades. Fram has improved these significantly over the years, and the current Extra Guard does use a silicone anti-drain back valve, which is a big step up from what they used to put in these things. The filter media is a cellulose and glass blend that Fram rates at 95% efficiency for particles larger than 20 microns. That number sounds impressive until you realize most engine wear particles that cause real damage are in the 5 to 20 micron range. Where the Extra Guard loses points is construction. The end caps are still made of a fiber and resin composite material instead of metal. Mechanics call them cardboard end caps, and while that is slightly unfair since the material is reinforced, the fact remains that metal end caps used by Wix and Mobil 1 provide a more rigid seal against the filter media and are less likely to degrade over extended oil change intervals. The bypass valve spring in the Extra Guard is also on the softer side. In cold weather with thick oil, this filter is more likely to go into bypass mode than a filter with a stronger spring, which means unfiltered oil is reaching your engine bearings at exactly the worst possible time. For a guy changing oil every 3,000 miles on a low-stress daily driver, the Extra Guard will be fine. For anyone running 5,000 to 7,500 mile intervals on a 5.3-liter, especially in cold climates, I would spend the extra $3 and move up the list. Number 4 is the Bosch Distance Plus. This is the filter that does not get enough attention. Bosch uses a synthetic and cellulose blend media that offers better filtration efficiency than a pure cellulose filter at a price point that is usually around $7 to $8. The build quality when I cut this one open was clean. It has metal end caps, a well-formed center tube with consistent hole punching, and a silicone anti-drain back valve that was pliable and well-seated. The pleat count was decent and the media had a good thickness to it. The one area where the Bosch falls just short of the top tier is total media surface area. It has fewer pleats than the Wix and the Mobil 1 I tested, which means slightly less dirt holding capacity over a full oil change interval. For 5,000-mile changes on a 5.3-liter engine running conventional or synthetic blend oil, the Bosch Distance Plus is a perfectly solid choice. It punches well above its price, and I would take it over the Fram Extra Guard every single day. Now here is number 3, and this is the one that genuinely surprised me, and not in a good way. Number 3 is the Delco PF48E, the E-Core version that GM switched to a few years ago as the standard replacement for the 5.3 in Gen 4 trucks. You would think the filter made by the same company that built the engine would be the gold standard. It is not. When I cut this one open, the construction quality had visible issues. The crimping around the housing edge was uneven. The filter media is an eco-friendly cellulose material that Delco markets as better for the environment, but what that really means is less filtration surface area and a thinner media compared to the traditional PF48 it replaced. The old PF48 was a solid filter. The PF48E is a cost reduction exercise with a green marketing wrapper. The center tube construction felt lighter and flimsier than what I pulled out of the Wix or the Mobil 1. Several mechanics I know who also cut these open have reported inconsistent quality control across batches, with rough paint, uneven hole punching, and gasket seating that did not inspire confidence. Now, I need to be clear about something. The AC Delco UPF48R, which is their Ultra Guard premium version, is a completely different and much better filter. And on the Gen 5 trucks with the variable displacement oil pump, the PF64 is the correct filter with the proper high bypass pressure spec. But the standard E-Core PF48E that most quick lube shops are putting on Gen 4 5.3 trucks is a filter I no longer recommend. It is the factory name on a below-average product, and your 5.3 deserves better. If this kind of honest breakdown is saving you money or keeping your truck out of the shop, do me a favor and hit subscribe. I put out videos every week cutting through the noise so you know exactly what is worth buying and what is not. Drop a comment and tell me which oil filter you have been running on your 5.3. I read every single one. Number 2 is the Wix 57060. This is the filter that most independent mechanics I know keep on their shelf and put on their own trucks. And when I cut this one open, it was easy to see why. The Wix uses a synthetic blend media with a pleat count that is noticeably higher than everything else I tested except the Mobil 1. More pleats means more surface area, and more surface area means better filtration and higher dirt holding capacity before the filter starts restricting flow. The end caps are metal, firmly bonded to the media. The center tube is well constructed with a clean hole pattern. The anti-drain back valve is silicone, and it was thick, flexible, and showed none of the stiffness I found on the cheaper filters. The bypass valve uses a dome-style design that many filtration engineers consider more reliable than a flat plate spring. It maintains consistent bypass pressure and is less likely to flutter under changing oil pressures. The Wix also runs about $7 to $9 depending on where you buy it, which makes it one of the best values in the entire oil filter market for this engine. For anyone running synthetic oil on 5,000 to 7,500 mile intervals, the Wix is a filter you can trust with zero hesitation. Napa Gold filters are manufactured by Wix and are essentially the same filter in a different box, so if your local Napa has one in stock, that is the same quality. And number 1, the filter that came out on top in every single category I tested is the Mobil 1 M1 113A. When I cut this filter open, the difference was immediately obvious. The synthetic media is dense, tightly pleated, and there is simply more of it than any other filter I tested. The pleat count is the highest of the group. The end caps are metal with a strong mechanical bond to the media. The center tube is heavy and well engineered with a consistent and generous hole pattern for oil flow. The anti-drain back valve is thick silicone, and it was the most pliable of any filter in the test. The bypass valve is well calibrated and the spring has solid tension, which means this filter keeps oil flowing through the media longer before going into bypass mode. That matters enormously on cold starts when oil is thick and your engine is most vulnerable. The Mobil 1 is rated for up to 20,000 miles when used with full synthetic oil, but even at standard 5,000 to 7,500 mile intervals, the extra capacity and filtration efficiency gives your 5.3-liter engine a measurable margin of protection that cheaper filters simply cannot match. The Mobil 1 runs about $10 to $12 depending on the retailer, which makes it the most expensive filter on this list. But when you consider that it is protecting a $7,000 to $9,000 engine, spending an extra $5 per oil change is not a luxury. It is common sense. So there it is. 6 oil filters cut open, compared, and ranked for the Chevy 5.3-liter V8. The SuperTech is cheap for a reason. The Fram Extra Guard is adequate, but nothing more. The Bosch Distance Plus is an underrated solid performer. The AC Delco E-Core PF48E is the biggest disappointment on this list, and one I will not put on a customer's truck anymore. The Wix 57062 is the best value in the game, and the Mobil 1M1 113A is the best overall filter you can buy for this engine. Period. The difference between the cheapest and the best filter on this list is about $8. That is less than a drive-through lunch. And it is the only thing standing between clean oil reaching your bearings and dirty oil grinding them down from the inside. Spend the $8, your 5.3 earned it. If you want to see which oil change mistakes are quietly destroying Chevy engines every single day, I made a video on exactly that. It's right here. 20 years of pulling wrenches has taught me one thing. The cheapest part on your truck is never the one you should be saving money on. Like the video if it helped. Subscribe for more honest truck advice, and I will see you in the next one. Drive safe, take care of your truck, and it will take care of you.